Tony Khan will make an announcement on Wednesday night. He will announce the first main event for Collision. So there you go. Do you think I think they get it now, like the announcements. And
I think they got it a long time ago. Okay, I think the bet is to see when these runs of announcements will stop. Like, how far into this announcement hole can Tony Khan go? How much can he milk this? So after you've announced the match, can you announce a stipulation? Can you announce
here's my thing with the announcements is that
they have to deliver. They have to deliver.
Well, yeah, and I'm saying like these last few, like they've all been major, and I think that should teach people that this match, and it's the main event of the first Collision. Like I think people have a very big expectation level. Like this is not going to be, I don't know, like the Young Bucks against the Butcher and the Blade. Like people, which would be like it's a fine match, but people are expecting like a blockbuster match announcement for that first Collision, and they should have a blockbuster match for the first main event.
Should they try commercial free for that first episode?
That's an interesting question that they could certainly I would think like that could be something to try that
at least for the match. I don't see, I mean, AEW is essentially commercial free now, but I think being able to have something extra to promote it, something extra for Tony Khan to announce, would that add that little thing? You're trying to get people to make Saturday a habit, and that's a lot more to ask for than just a typical night. So
what's your expectation level of seeing, especially after Tony Khan's answer? It was an interesting answer at the press conference that we didn't discuss about the idea of a Bill Goldberg, who is probably like your biggest free agent that is out there that could have a short-term impact. Could you see Bill Goldberg being figured into getting Collision off the ground and making at least an AEW appearance over these this next month or two?
I actually can, especially like in the build up towards something like an All In, and even beyond, especially now that you have something like a Collision.
I feel if he were announced or comes in Chicago, like they could keep him as a surprise. I think that spikes a lot of those Collision tickets.
Yep.
And if this builds up, like maybe he does one match on TV, but maybe you build up to something big for All In, that will move tickets for Wembley too.
Look at the mileage they've gotten out of Sting. Okay. And this is a guy who's already had spinal stenosis, had already retired. Look at the mileage they've had and the rebuilding that they've done with Sting. I think they could do something very similar with Bill Goldberg by attaching him to a young star, hiding him in these sort of multi-man tag matches, coming in, doing all of his spots, which for the most part still look very good. And then just really building the aura of the character. I'm actually now quite curious to see how he would be portrayed in AEW.
Like you're not getting a Dave Bautista, and like it's not a very long list of people that have that kind of attraction with people that can still do like his character, and it's not like he has to come in and do some big 20-minute match. It's like you can protect him in such a way, and we certainly saw from this last WWE run, he can be effective when left to his own devices and presented as Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, and a big name on a marquee that you could use to help elevate a lot of your younger stars, and for pay-per-views that you're selling to still like an audience that might not be as familiar with your AEW roster. Yeah, he could mean a lot. Collision main event to be announced Wednesday. Predictions.
I said it before. I would certainly lean towards MJF defending the title on that first Collision. But I mean, like you look at this roster, there are many, many options of where you could go with that. But I would do something big. Like it tells you, number one, there's this belief that, with MJF that, he never, ever does Rampage. And it's like right off the bat, it tells you like, this is a big deal. Not only are you getting a title match, it's an MJF title match on the non-Dynamite show. That's where I would go, but there's many good directions to go for that first one. You want something big, and I feel like MJF is something big without doing something.
Well, that's something big. Does that something big need to involve CM Punk in a wrestling match?
Not on show number one. No, I think Punk just being there, speaking for the first time, that's the draw for that first one. You're just watering it down by not watering it down, but that could be another time. Like his first match should be. In all honesty, they should hold off on that for as long as they can. Before
So
he has to wrestle.
what's the update on ticket sales? And curious to know like what you think like their aims would be at this point.
Chicago's at 8,000. Like it's a good number for.
Is it good for the United Center?
I mean, it can be higher. Obviously, they've put in more people in the United Center, but 8,000 is not an embarrassment for the United Center, and I still think they will move more tickets. They moved 1,000 tickets this week with Punk, and I think they will hope that they will get some kind of bump this week with this match announcement, and hopefully that final couple of days, once Collision is taking form, that they can move some more tickets as well.
Well, I guess in my mind, I'm just thinking, what is the type of match that would draw like a decent addition, to that number for United Center in Chicago. I just wonder if there's any pressure on their end to want to consider putting Punk in a wrestling match. I would agree that I think the best move would be to delay it until either a pay-per-view or even like All In. Well, that might be too far, but such somewhere further down the line. But I could at least see the thinking and the temptation.
Quite honestly, it's the follow-up collisions that very much need something. Like, again, United Center, it's a very respectable number. Like, no one's going to call that a failure. But at this point, like Toronto and Hamilton, like those are very bad numbers that they are at. Like Hamilton is still under 800 people. Toronto is under 1,500.
I'm curious to know if there's any New Japan involvement, with the go home show before, a week, I should say, before Forbidden Door. It's hard to predict the main event, really to kind of take your pick. There's really so much. But is it all hands on deck, or are we starting with the soft split? You think?
For that first show, I would want as many of your big stars as possible, but that would mean the Elite, and I don't know if you're going to have them on that first show.
God, that would be silly. Really, like there's more than one change room in the back.
I mean, that's like the whole. That's one of the main functions of this show silly. Is like this idea that it's got to be separate.
I'm willing to bet the Elite have to be on, but you know what? Who knows? You're right.
Post Wrestling and Poison Rana, we are teaming up.
The Forbidden Pour, Post Wrestling and Poison Rana, the same day. If for anyone traveling in for Forbidden Door, we will be literally steps away from the Scotiabank Arena. It is right next door. It is attached to the arena. We're going to have a pre-party. John and Wei, you guys are going to do a podcast before the show, but it's afterwards that the after party is where things are really going to kick off, because we're going to do some wrestling karaoke.
And it's already been promised that a Mr. John Pollock is going to sing All In by Downstate.
Yeah, he agreed. It was in the contract. We've been throwing a few parties before, but nothing this big, nothing this huge. This is our double or nothing, really, and we're so excited. This is going to be a blast. If you're thinking about Forbidden Door weekend, now is your chance, because tickets are available now, aren't they, Wei?
Yes, they are right now. Postwrestling.com/live. I'm super excited.